with Potomac Beads. Join me in making the Summer Shadows bracelet featuring our DiscDuo and Halo beads. Remember, if you need any supplies, check the link right below to shop with us online. Gather up your materials and let's get started. To get started on our bracelet, you want to make sure that you have 2 needles with some .006 wildfire beading thread, and I have a needle on either end of 5 feet of thread. I have sitting here my materials of my white cup button, my 3mm Bicone in Opal, my Halo bead 2-hole in Gunmetal, my DiscDuo in the white Shimmer, 15 OC beads Miyuki brand in the nickel plated, and then I also have some of the Miyuki spacers in the white opaque luster in the smaller 2 by 1mm size, which is going to be their 11-0 size. On the end of my needle, I've stuck 1 15-0, 1 crystal, and 1 15-0. I'm going to pick up a cup button. I'm going to face it so that one needle is going through one hole and one needle through the other, face down so the crystal sits in the middle of the button. That's the advantage of working with 2 needles. You can put your clasp on right away. We're not going to worry about reinforcing the clasp because we will come back down the project to add in our line of our seed beads. Coming out the back of the project, go ahead and add 1, 2, 3 of your 15-0s on both the right and the left needle. Because we are working with 2 needles, whatever we do with the left needle, we will also do with the right needle. Let those fall down next to the cup button. Go ahead and grab one of your spacers and 2 of your spacers. You're going to stack those one on top of the other. Take one needle through and then take the other needle through, both going in the same direction. Make sure you still have equal amounts of thread on both the right and the left needle and let that drop down next to your clasp. Once again, separate out the needles, one towards the right side and one towards the left side, picking up 3 of your gunmetal beads. After we pick up 3 gunmetal beads, it's going to be our first time to add our halo. For the halo, I have the DiscDuo that I'm going to drop in the middle, and I want one of my threads and needles to go through one side of my halo and the DiscDuo and out the other side. With the other needle, go ahead and take it through the second hole on the left side. Again, still making sure I have equal amounts of thread on both the right and the left side. From here, we're going to take the thread so that it sits on the side of that 2-hole halo. To sit on this side, I want you to do a pattern of 2 15-0s, again, every time with the right and the left. After the 2 15-0s, 1 of your spacer beads, 1 more 15, and 1 crystal. Do that same thing in reverse, 1 15, 1 spacer, and 2 15s. Once that's on your needle and thread, go ahead, the thread that's coming out the right side that's in your hand, go back through that same spacer or the halo as well as the DiscDuo, and that decorates the side of the piece. Now that you have it on the right side, go ahead and do it on the left side as well. After doing it on the left side, you're going to come out of this spacer, add in 1 of your Miyuki spacers, 1 of your 15-0s, 1 more DiscDuo, and then the opposite, 15 and a spacer bead. Let those drop down next to the last halo bead, and that add another halo with your bead in the center and straight through. You do this on both the right and the left side. Again then, spinning around, adding in your crystals to decorate the outer edge. Now that I've done this on the right hand side, I'm going to decorate the left side of my halo bead, add my spacers as well as my 15 and my DiscDuo, back up through this halo and decorate the side of the halo. Go ahead and continue this as your whole base of your bracelet. After you go down the line, adding in your DiscDuos along the side, and then you have your halo beads, you'll get to the end, and I have a total of 9 of my halo beads that I've added. That's going to be for about a 7 1/4. You may need a 1/10. Just a little idea, also if you want to, add a couple more seed beads to the end if you do need to make it a little bit bigger. Here at the end, just like I did at the start, I have 3 15-0s coming out, both the left and the right needle, shared going through 2 of my spacer beads, and then I have 34 15-0 beads onto one of my needles. From here, I'm going to sew down through those 2 beads there, to those through 2 spacer beads, and then I'm going to take my next needle and we're going to sew through all of those spacer beads to reinforce the clasp. If you happen to be using a clasp guard and clasp, a nice Potomac's clasp, you want to use a wire guard or wire protector if you can, and then string on right here doing the same thing, where you're taking both threads through that connection point of the clasp. You always want to make sure whenever you have a section that you are connecting or that you have the clasp at, you never want to just have one piece of thread through that section. That's too risky. From here, go ahead and pull your thread tight on both sides, making sure you have no additional thread showing on either end of the design. From here, we're going to separate our needles, one back to the right, one to the left. And what we're going to do is we are going to add in 3 more 15-0s on your needle. Go ahead and take your thread and needle then up through that spacer 15 crystal, 15, and through the spacer. Go ahead and do that on both the right and the left side, and then we'll get ready to connect to our DiscDuo and do our Xing on top. After coming out through your spacer bead there, your white spacer, you're going to add 3 15s on both the right and the left side and string through the second hole of that DiscDuo. From here, if you want to, you can continue that design the whole length of the bracelet, which will keep those DiscDuos open. What I'm going to do is on the right needle, I've put 4 15s, one of my 3mm crystal, and 4 15s again. I'm going to take this thread and needle coming out the top hole on the very far right side of the DiscDuo and go to the bottom hole on the very far left side and out towards the top. That's going to force this to sit right over the top of those DiscDuos. From here with the left needle, pick up 4 of your 15-0s right there. We're going to sew through the crystal. So we're sharing the crystal, adding 4 more 15s, and then sewing into the bottom left or bottom right side. So the bottom left ends up going, or the top left ends up going in the bottom right, and the top right goes in the bottom left. Give a nice tight pull to create almost that little kind of bow tie effect right on top of your beads there. Add 1, 2, 3 15s onto your thread and needle. Hop over to your next section of your crystals near your halo beads. Sew through the spacer bead, 15 crystal, 15 spacer bead. Add 3 more of your 15s. Sew through your DiscDuo. And now repeat that nice Xing effect to get that bow tie look the whole way along the rest of the bracelet. When you get to the end of the piece, you're going to be coming out the last of your 15-0s, just like we did on the initial side, and then remember we popped out of our of our spacer bead there. I'm going to add 3 15-0s onto the needle, and you can see that nice shadowing effect that it's kind of hiding the DiscDuos there. You're going to go up through those 2 demi rounds there, those 2 spacer beads. You're going to go up through those 15-0s, through the button. At the same time when you come out the button, go ahead and come out through the 15-0, through the crystal, down through the 15-0 and the button, and out through the 3 15s on the opposite side. If you're already through there, go ahead and come back through the 11-0 seed beads as well. So come through those little Miyuki spacers. Coming out then on the side, go ahead and add 3 more of your 15s. Take these 2 thread ends that are finished right next to one another and tie your 2 thread ends together. You'll notice I still have the needles on the thread, and I want to make sure that my seed beads are not in on the knot at all. Go ahead and tie a square knot right over left, left over right. Then you're going to take the needle and thread that was coming down through the cup button, go through that halo and DiscDuo, bring it on out. You can burn that one off there. The one that hasn't gone yet through the piece, going up through, you can go up through the back here of the design towards the exterior of the outside and through your couple seed beads. Once you get there, the threads are separated enough that you can go in with your thread zap or your thread burner and burn the ends of your thread down. You'll burn it off and then burn it flush towards the piece. Same thing on the other one. Turn it over here, burn it flush, and then down towards the piece. Once you're done with that, your shadows bracelet is complete. And you can see the fun design of how that DiscDuo really is that second set kind of hanging in the shadows. We toyed around during one of our Twitch streams. If you haven't joined us there, make sure to do so. Calling this the bow tie versus the shadows, and the shadows won out. So if you are looking again, you can change up the materials. The bracelet is actually quite reversible. You can have a lot of the DiscDuo showing on one side, but then you have that beautiful shadowing effect on the opposite side. Once again, thanks so much for joining me in making this lovely shadows bracelet. It works so well with what I've got on. I'm just gonna stick it on and go. If you do want to make one or need any materials, make sure to check the links below to shop with us online. Also, make sure if you haven't yet to click that subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Likewise, remember to give a little thumbs up and also comment below. Say any switches to the design you made, if you used cabs, round trios, what you made different and how it changed up your design. Remember also, if you haven't checked it out, check out our Facebook group and our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making to join, post your pictures, get ideas, and really become part of an interactive community. Thanks so much for watching and happy beading, everyone.